the best possible 23 for Sydney, starting with the back line, Jake Lloyd, Tom McCartan, Dane Rampy, Callum Mills, Joel Hamling, and Nick Blakey. Great back line.
Yeah, it's a stacked group from across the whole 23. I had Harry Cunningham in there, and then you had to move one of the midfielders in, and then that moves Callum Mills out, and you're probably playing him at halfback if he's not playing midfield. And then, you're not really moving any of Lloyd, McCartan, Rampy, or Blakey. Joel Hamling seems like a certain starter after they lost Paddy McCartan. So it's a really solid backline group that, as mentioned, Harry Cunningham as a sub, Ollie Florin off the bench. You probably got Robbie Fox as an emergency, who I think I originally had as the sub before kind of having to shuffle a few things around. So yeah, it's an area that they've obviously struggled with injuries wise and kind of getting some stability down there. But hopefully if this group can kind of stay fit, yeah, they've got a back seven that certainly can improve on what they kind of had to deal with this year. So it's a good group that offers plenty of run. And Tom McCartan's still so young, so I think he's going to be fantastic for them for the long haul. Hamling has probably a little bit left in him. He's probably not a starting tall defender for most at most finals clubs, but it's just kind of the cards Sydney have been dealt a little bit. Then yeah, you've got Mills, you've got Lloyd, some cool heads there. Nick Blakey had a breakout year this year. Mm-hmm. Dane Rampy's another one who's just so reliable. And then Ollie Florent, probably that half-back wing maybe, just gives them some nice run and speed. So yeah, it's a really exciting group. Braden Campbell's another one who can probably slot at half-back if they wanted to. They've just got some nice role players who can play a multitude of roles for sure.
Yep. And then moving into the midfield, so Brodie Grundy straight into that main ruck role. At his feet, James Rowbottom, Luke Parker, and Chad Warner. And then on the wings, of course, Errol Goulden and Braden Campbell.
Such a strong group. And then add in Taylor Adams. Not sure Isaac Heaney is really a midfielder anymore with kind of the players they've got there. Tom Papley can play up through midfield. Justin McInerney on a wing. Will Hayward as well. They brought in James Jordan. So all of those guys are players we've got in this 23. So they've just got... They bat really deep, obviously, in midfield. Yep. And most of it's a young group, like Rowbottom, Warner, Goulden, all quite young. And then, Campbell, young. James Jordan's got plenty of time. Justin McInerney, Will Hayward. So it's such an exciting group. And then on top of that, as you mentioned, Brodie Grundy, who I think when we were talking in the trade period, I'm tipping him as a AA Smoky. I think Sydney are going to be a bit of a riser after, not being able to win a final this year. So,
yep.
I think they'd certainly make the jump. And then Taylor Adams, probably just plays a similar role to what he was kind of dealt with at Collingwood, I think, midfield or half forward. And then, obviously Errol Goulden finished, equal fourth in the Brownlow. Yep. Certainly could have won it with, I think, going into the last round anyway. So it's just stacked everywhere. And it's just perfect balance of players, like Goulden on the outside, Warner kind of a in and out player. I guess Goulden can probably play through right in the engine room as well. Rowbottom, such a hard hitting, defensive midfielder. Parker, that more attacking breed. Campbell, McInerney, guys that just offer great run. James Jordan, probably similar to Warner, will probably work a little bit closely with him, you would have thought. It's a very, very good group. Adding guys like Angus Sheldrick to their depth options as well. Like they've got some really good midfielders. Caden Cleary, who they picked up at the draft, another one who I don't think will look out of place at AFL level in his first year.
Yep. And moving to that forward line, so as you mentioned, Isaac Heaney, Joel Amartey, Taylor Adams, and then Hayden McLean, Logan McDonald as the main man, and Tom Papley.
Yeah, the talls are going to be interesting. Like obviously they lose Buddy, and they probably just go back to three talls. They're not going to be mixing around with their ruck.
And they looked pretty good when Buddy wasn't playing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and all of them are young. Like Amartey, McLean, and McDonald probably all had some pretty big games last year. They probably all didn't come together.
Yeah. But
they each had glimpses, and it's going to be a bit of a headache for most opposition defenses, you'd think. Add in Isaac Heaney as a medium-sized, high-leaping half forward. Again, we had Taylor Adams there, but he could be playing midfield minutes, and you add in a Justin McInerney or a Sam Weeks. And then Tom Papley, probably a top three small forward in the competition. So damaging as a big game player. Luke Parker can play through there as well. Will Hayward at half forward. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to work with. And then the talls kind of after that, who are they probably looking at? Like Jack Ball, they brought in through the mid-season draft, could be one. But the forward line group as a whole is really strong.
Brodie Grundy pushed forward.
He could. He probably spending 99% of the game as the ruckman. But obviously, if he needs a rest, they've got Hayden McLean or Joel Amani to work that out.
Yep.
But yeah, as you mentioned, Logan McDonald's probably going to be the spearhead in this group, and it's going to be really interesting to see what his return is next year if he can stay fit for the full season in what is a contract year from him, and where he's going to get a lot of interest from elsewhere. So, he's going to be key if they are doing better than. And going on to at least win a final next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they can definitely make a push for a top 4 really with this list. I think
sure.
Mills is a big out, obviously, and I think Gordon's probably going to get a lot more attention next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If when Mills plays is going to be pretty key. Still such an important player for them. Can obviously run right through the midfield and or even negate one of a star opponent, but at the same time just drop on that last line for them when the game's on the line and kind of be a bit of an architect. So yeah, he's obviously going to be quite key for them if he is missing the first few games, and when his return comes, it's going to be significant.
Yeah, absolutely. So they should be pretty comfortably heading into the top 8 or. They should be aspiring to top 4, really. Great side. All right.